Alright, you all, welcome back to my channel. This is Net Solution. In this video tutorial, today's class we will treat on classes, that is object-oriented programming in Python, classes in Python. Alright, if you're new to my channel, click on the subscription button, and if you find this video helpful, please click on that like button. If you find the video helpful, click on that like button. It will encourage me and it will make this video to reach as many as who need the same help just like you did. All right, today we treat on object-oriented programming, that is classes in Python. All right, to write a class, first you have to enter this keyword called class, right, followed by the class name. Okay, maybe in today's class our class name may be car. Okay, while typing the car, the first letter should be a capital letter. All right, so the first letter capital letter, then followed by small letters. Okay, now I have defined a car, enter a colon. Right now we have write a class called car. So right here below it will begin to define our classes. All right, please note that you indent this. There's a space here, there's a space here, you can see there's a space here. Indent this. All right, to get this is just by typing four spaces into 4 times, like 1 2 3 4. That is the correct Python indentation. Or you can indent it by just clicking on tab. Click on tab and it will be indented. Or once you are right here, just click on enter and it will just indent automatically. Click on enter. Now as you can see, I have indented it automatically. Okay, so right here after the indentation, we'll type in our code. With that, if you forget about the indentation, your code will not work. Your class definition cannot be accessible by the class. If automatically, your code will not work, right? So the indentation is very much important, okay, as it is one of the Python syntaxes. Okay, so right here, let us define our class. We write def, just like when you're writing a normal function, right? Just like when you're writing a normal function. I have made a video already where I have showed a full tutorial on how to do your classes. That is starting from function, variable, and classes. Right. So right here, we write def and then followed by double underscore underscore underscore. Then we want to initialize this class. Okay, so we use the word init for initialize, then add underscore underscore, open and close bracket, then self parameter. All right, self parameter, the self parameter should be there. This is what makes this class accessible. And also once the self parameter is added on other classes, on other functions we will define, it will turn the function into a method. So this self parameter is very much important. Okay, so right here we'll start to write our code. So this is the basic way you have to do with classes. So let me just remove this. We are still coming for that. And after defining a class, you can start up typing some codes without even using the def function. That is, without using the function, right? You can just say it model to be equals to Lexus, and using model, no, model should be 350, maybe this is 350. Then car type, should be equals to Lexus, maybe year, equals to maybe, let's say, 2018. Now I want to access our class. Now first thing is right here, that is outside of the class. As you can see my arrow, it is no more indented, rather it's just outside of the class. All right, so right here we'll call the class. Okay, we'll just call the class, maybe to say class dot something. Class is not, you cannot just call it, right? Just like when you're calling a function, just add the class name dot the attribute or the method. Okay, class dot object. Okay, that's just it. So these are our class. Class starts with capital letter. Okay, capital letter C, then small letter AR. All right, so we close the bracket, just like when we are typing a function. Okay, we add the open and close bracket, but we're going to assign this to a variable. Okay, so I may call it my car is equals to the class name. Okay, so if you want to access this, you just type my car dot object, or my car dot object, or object dot method, something like that. Okay, so here we say my car, okay, dot which object we have model. I want to get the model, so my car dot model. Let me print this out. Print my car dot model. Once I run it, it gives me 3/5. Okay, 3/5 is the model of my car. I can also print my car dot car type. Once I run it, it gives me Lexus. Okay, so this is how it was. If I also type my car dot year, it will give me. So all these you have created are, these are objects, these are objects, these are objects, all right, and these are their values. Okay, these are the values we will get when we call the object. Okay, so let us go more deeper in Python classes. All right, so now we are going to initialize uh, our class by writing def underscore underscore init underscore underscore using the self parameter. So right here, remember we also indented before this. We indented this. That is when writing a function, you have to put an indentation. We indented this. All right. So here, instead of writing the car models like we did outside here, we can do it here. Okay, we can now do it right here. We'll say, but when doing it, okay, first maybe I want to write about the model, and say model is equals to model is equals to maybe 3 tags, then year is equals to 2020. Okay, right now these things cannot be accessible because I need to add the self parameter in front of them, which is self dot model. Okay, without adding the self parameter, if I just add this like this, maybe call the car function, remember start with capital letter, close with brackets, and then assign it to a value, maybe my car. If I just call this my car dot, I cannot get the model. As you can see, model is not showing up. Dot model, if I just try to print this out, it won't work as we expected. It will raise an error. Okay, once I run this my car dot model, it raises an error. Object has no attribute model. Why there's an, yeah, there is a model here, but it says it has no attribute model. All right, so we have created an object and there's no attribute called method model. So to get an attribute called model, we have to assign self to this. Okay, self dot model. All right, you can see the color has now come out. You can also do the same thing here. Self dot model, self dot year, the color has now come out. It is now accessible. Once I run this again, it will give me the model number as thread tags. You can see here as thread tags. So the self parameter makes this like global, makes it to be accessible, turn this object to an attribute. So when you call the object, you get the attributes. All right, so that is how we use classes. You can add as many as you can and then use the self parameter to ensure that everything works successful. All right, so we can also add methods. Now we have created an object with their attributes. What about method? Because classes are made up of objects and methods, objects and methods. All right, so right here we are going to create a method. Now this method we are going to create, will not be indented under this def, under this function, because it must be outside of this function, but it must be indented under the class. Okay, simply means we must start typing from here and not from here, right? So we need to go back a bit. Okay, we start typing from here. So we create another function name called, maybe you want to get the details of the car. Details. As you can see, the self parameter has automatically been added here. This self parameter ensures that this details, this method is accessible. It will turn this into a method. Once I remove the self parameter, this is no more a method. It's just like a function, right? So we use the self parameter to make this a method. Okay, so right here we have created a method. We start defining our method. Okay, our method may add some other things here, like maybe color, color equals to red, and then condition. Then we add, which other description are we going to add? We have added the color, condition to be good. Okay, we may just rent the details of the car, which is, we say it, car equals to now, which is the car type, car. Okay, we've not set the car type. We may set the car type anywhere. Okay, we can set it here, anywhere. You can set it anywhere. Okay, once the self uh, parameter is here, is accessible. Okay, self dot car type. Okay, Lexus. So right here we'll print car type. As you can see, this marks a red line under here. Okay, this red line simply means there's an error. Okay, now this car type is not accessible because we need to add a self parameter to it. Okay, we need to add the self parameter to make this accessible, so it can see it anywhere. Like if I should run this now, it will raise an error. Okay, it just printed 350. Okay, sorry, I called the model. We need to call the details. Okay, add the details to raise an error. Okay, he said car name, car type is not defined. Car type is not defined. Why? We have already defined the car type. Okay, he says that car type is not defined. Here we have a car type. Here is the car type, but it says that car type have not defined when we are calling it here. It's not defined because we have not added the self parameter to it. If we add the self parameter to it, it will be defined once I add self dot car type. As you can see, the red line has left. If we should run this again by calling the details, let's see. As you can now see, we have gotten it, car equals to Lexus. Okay, now we have gotten it by adding the self parameter. The self parameter helps and make this accessible. It turns this into an object to make it accessible. All right, so there is another way we can access the car. Okay, we can come up here and type car type. Okay, car type equals to Lexus. Okay, now once we call this car type without the self parameter, it will access this. Okay, let's turn this to another car, maybe Toyota. Remember, car type here is Lexus, car type here is Toyota. Once we add the self parameter, we get this. Once we remove the self parameter, it searches for here. The self parameter makes this something like a global. Okay, just like a global. When you ask a global, once you create a global variable, it can be accessed outside of the function and inside of the function. Okay, now once you have not added the self parameter here, it makes this, it turns this to a local object and not a global object. Okay, so once it's a local, it can only look for it inside of this function and not outside of the function. Okay, once I run this now, we see car I got Toyota, car type I got Toyota instead of Lexus. I can equally come here and say self dot car type. Okay, here is car type, here is car type. Once I run this, let's see what we got. We got Toyota and we got Lexus. Okay, so that is how it works. We need to add a self parameter to get the one above, or we can just create a local one right here without adding the self parameter. So let's just remove this and also remove this. So car type, and then wants to get car type, car model. Okay, model is will not type threat at, rather we'll just get the model by typing the model. Self, remember you add a self parameter, self dot model. Okay, you add a comma, we got another one, maybe year. Okay, or let's get the color first. Here's the color, let's get the color first. Color, because remember this is a local variable, we don't need to add the self parameter, so we just type in the color. This self ensures that all these has self on its own, on their own, right? So this self make this method accessible. Then once this method has been accessed, everything inside will be called. Okay, this self makes this function accessible. So once you access this function, every other thing inside of the function is accessed. Okay, so we don't need to add self at the back of these ones. Okay, so right here we say color equals to color. All right, so we will not add the self parameter. Once you add the self parameter, we'll raise an error. Okay, maybe if I should add self dot color, as you can see there's a red line. Okay, the red line has left, but I don't think this is gonna work. Once I run this, it raises an error. It says car object has no attribute color. Of course it has no attribute color, so it raises an error. We have to remove the self parameter in order to access the color as a local method. Okay, as a local method. So as a local method, so we remove the self dot. Okay, once you've gotten the color, maybe let us get the condition. Say condition equals to condition. Remember, condition is on our method. On method we don't have to add the self, so it's on our method, so we don't need to add the self. Then right here again we might get, let's get the year. So right here we type year, we add self dot year, right? So we are done. If we should call the details again, let us run this. As you can see, it says car Lexus model 330, color red, condition good, year 220. At least comma should be here. To do that, you just use format method. Okay, you just use format method, so you can add comma to separate all these things. To use format method, we all know how to use format method by using this. Okay, by turning this to an f string. All right. All right, we are using the format method. So we say car is this. We may add a comma or dot. Now let me rerun this. You say car Lexus model 330. As you can see, there's comma, color red, condition good, year 2020. Okay, we can use the backstroke n to make this a new line. So right here we have defined this function in this pattern. Okay, now we can equally add a parameter instead of saying model to be 330 and year to be 220. It's better we save it as a parameter and access it somewhere. Okay, so we can just come back here and add a parameter called, maybe let us just remove this value. Okay, first add a comma, add a parameter called model, comma, year, comma, and then car type. Okay, so right here we change this to the model, we change this to year. As you can see, while changing, it turns the color and bring it back to normal. That is, it has been assessed. Okay, change this to car type. All right, so it's still the same thing, but if we run this like this, it will raise an error. Okay, here's the error: missing 3 required positional arguments. All right, we have an parameter which requires an argument. Okay, which requires for you to pass in an argument when calling this function. Okay, when initializing that. So right here on our car, we'll specify what model, year, and car type will be. Right here, we say model is Lexus with comma, we separate them, and then year is 2020, we separate them, and then here car type, oh sorry, car type is Lexus and model is that 330. Okay, now once we call this again, you can see all has been assessed. Model Lexus, model Lexus, sorry, car Lexus, model 330, color red, condition good, and then all of them. All right, so this is how, this is the perfect way to access it, so you can change everything from here. Maybe next time you're calling it, you want the model to be 350 and not 330, and you want the the car to be maybe Toyota. Once you run it, need to change everything from here, Toyota car, and then 350. Okay, so it is better you save it as parameter and then access it later. So that is the best way to use that. Okay, so we need to add a parameter to this. So we'll change this value and use parameter as an argument for that. So right here we say color and then condition. I will never use condition first because of some purpose. And color. Okay, right here we change color to color and condition to condition. Okay, so set we may give color a default value that when we are calling this, like, okay, let us just add back our model. Let us call this, like, on the function, on the name of the class, we have to provide a value for this parameters. We have to provide an attribute for them when calling it. So we provide an attribute for model to be 350, then year to be 2021, and then car type to be Lexus. Okay, we have provided an argument for these parameters. So right here we need to provide an argument also for these parameters, condition and call. Okay, we may say the same thing that is right here on the details function. Okay, so condition to be good, and then color to be red. Okay, so once I run this now, I get Lexus model 350, color red, condition good, year 2021. Okay, once I call this, I get all these values. Okay, right here maybe we don't want to specify a color, and right here I will set the default color to be black. As we know, cars are normally black. Also we set the default value to be black. So once we do not specify a value for the color, it will use black. Okay, now when I run this now, it gives me color black. Okay, but when I provide once I provide a value for it, maybe red, if I should run it, the color will be changed from black to red. So that is why it is much more important to use your parameter as an argument. Okay, instead of setting the color here, it is very much more important to change it right here. So whenever you are calling your function or the method, you can specify what you want the method to print. Okay, you can specify it. Instead of printing the default something, you can specify it, or it will print out the default value what it is, or rather you just specify it. Okay, but once you use the code right here, you cannot access it to change it. Maybe once you use the value, instead of color you use red, you cannot specify it right here. Means whenever you call the 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 method, it will keep on printing red. Okay, but once you use the you also use attribute, use the parameter as an attribute, you can change the color to whatever you want once you are calling it. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this tutorial of class. In our next class we'll go more deeper, on classes. So this is the basic of class. In our next class we'll go more deep on classes. Thank you guys, see you in my next class.